There is nothing like this film. Watching Superman the movie is like having a religious experience. I am so ecstatic even thinking about everything, the pure hope and optimism that this film manages to capture almost 50 years ago. Truly, absolutely just magic encapsulated.
Yeah, this is a staple in filmmaking. This was in the 70s, this brilliant start to this whole journey in the world of superheroes. But you cannot deny that Superman is one of the most influential hero characters in history. I think it's just a beautiful thing to have so much hope and so much kindness, and it's just beautiful. Watching this, you feel like you're stumbling on this lost footage of cinema that feels so alive, that feels so dreamy. It feels aspirational. You feel like you want to be like Superman, you want to do good in this world. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's good distilled into celluloid form. Even all these years later, it holds up in almost every imaginable way, and I cannot wait to talk about it. Cue the music.
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
I almost wish we just played the Superman music because there's actually nothing can come close to John Williams' score for this
Oh,
film.
let's start there with John Williams.
Oh,
I think
I
John
mean,
Williams is,
come on.
I don't know how he does it. It just makes things so incredible. Like, it's so impactful when you watch this movie that feels, it just makes me so happy. It makes me feel so whimsical. And this is just incredible to watch. That iconic theme, that was something that I got introduced in. This is going to be a random reference. Lego Batman 2.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to hear that theme. That is still looping around in my head. You cannot go wrong with John Williams. Is he still going to this day? Just
Yeah,
working
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Wow.
He's said that he's retiring so many times and he keeps on coming back and
I'm
delivering.
coming back for
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm
Leaving.
not leaving. That's just
Yeah.
him. And you name it, he did it perfectly. Score for Star Wars, Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, E.T., Jaws, Schindler's List, Superman, any score, he adds his magic and it's perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that we here, 1978, this is the golden age, if it exists, of John Williams' music. And this score, it's genius. Potentially, we've had many, many superhero films, many superhero scores, but this may just top them all. You
Mm.
sit there for the first 5 minutes of this movie, just watching names fly at you, and
Yeah.
just listening to that score uninterrupted, and it's just orgasmic. When this film started, and also all the way through it, just basically every moment in this film, I wanted to just jump out my window in the best possible way. I wanted to fly. It captures the heights of flight, of power, of good and hope and optimism. All these things that is core to Superman. It's right there. I can understand why people don't want to even think of anything else as Superman's theme because that's it. But it's not just that. There's so many beautiful, like the love theme between him and Lois, or the Krypton theme, or even Lex Luthor's theme. It's bumbling, it's a little bit devious. Even the theme for his parents and for Smallville and for him as a young kid. There's this brilliant moment when we just have the scene with Superman and Lois when they fly,
Mm.
and Clark comes in and he has this moment where he almost tells Lois who he is. And the theme just plays that Smallville theme, that Kent family theme. And that's the moment that he decides not to tell her. There's no dialogue. All we just see are the emotions play out on Christopher Reeve's face. And
Mm.
we hear that score. And in that moment, we know exactly what's going on. He is thinking about those words that his parents told him, about how to use his powers, about responsibility, about him being there for a reason. And he decides not to tell her who he is. And just through John Williams, we are communicated so much. And I just, oh man, that score, inject it into my veins.
That scene, oh wow, Christopher Reeve as Superman, but also Clark Kent. There was this one quote that I remember about Superman: "It takes strength to be kind." And I think that's reflected through the goofy nature of Clark. He's always goofy, making accidents. There was one bit in Superman All-Star, I believe, where Superman bumps into a stranger and then he saved that stranger's life. That to me is like, he can do something so powerful yet get so silly. You do get to see that in Superman and Lois as well, which I've been enjoying.
We will be talking about Superman and Lois next week as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about that. But the opening for Krypton is just so melancholic, it feels so void and feels like the apocalyptic end, but feels so distant and magical. That was something that just completely blew my mind. It was like, how is this made in the 70s? Oh, 2001 was made in 1968. And it's how films are so achievable with visuals and in languages. Like Stanley Kubrick said, Lord of the Rings is completely unadaptable. Well, Percy Jackson, there's all those things that makes it so magical when you watch this movie.
I think you mean Peter Jackson, not
Peter Jackson, not Percy Jackson. I always get my
Percy Jackson came from the gods to give us Lord of the Rings.
I'm gonna do Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Oh, I've never read Percy Jackson. Is that what happens?
I don't know.
He makes Lord of the Rings.
He just accidentally made Lord of the Rings. He was just like, oh, dang.
The thing about that whole opening is that immediately it just transports you to this different place. Again, from the score, but also from the soundscape and from these incredible miniatures showing this icy surface and all of the sets that everyone's standing in. You have Marlon Brando there wearing his tinfoil costume. It's so goofy, but it really works. The way that in that first scene, everything is dark and the symbol of the S is illuminated. And then when the lights are on, the whole outfit takes on a completely different color scheme because the light reflects. That's just really smart and really simple, but really effective. And we get that introduction of General Zod's and it sets up for the sequel. And a lot of comic book films these days would do that. And I'd be like, that's cheap.
That's sneaky. Shit. What are you going to do? Money?
Exactly. And it's like, you're just making a sequel setup for no reason. But this just effortless, and they did film 1 and 2 together, so they knew they were going there. But there's just something about the way that it builds the world and it builds the kind of person that Jor-El is. And Marlon Brando has never given less of a shit in his entire life. He is literally reading the script in the scene that he says goodbye to Cal. He's literally looking at the script, like the script is like next to the baby, and he's reading his lines. Oh my god, what a thing to see! You would not get that these days.
No, you wouldn't.
The power that one actor can have. Marlon Brando's name is in front of anyone else in this movie, and he has like 3 scenes.
Yeah, it's just crazy that he's like, a method actor. You can do whatever. Yeah. And he's just reading off the script just around the set. He was like, yes, I'm an actor.
Yeah, apparently he refused to rehearse or anything, and he was like, I'll do 1 take, and then that's it. Just insane. He is the top bill, but honestly, it's all about Christopher Reeve. A lot of people will have their own opinion on this, but this could be the greatest comic book casting of all time. I love pretty much every Superman on screen. Doesn't matter if it's Henry Cavill or Brandon Routh or Tom Welling or Tyler Hoechlin or soon to be David Corenswet. They're all amazing. But Christopher Reeve, that's not an actor playing Superman. That is Superman. Everything about his performance, as you said, the dichotomy between Clark and Superman, the way that he plays the different things. As I said earlier, the scene where he almost tells Lois, he takes off his glasses and he straightens up and his voice changes and his whole demeanor changes. Brilliant. We take that for granted now, but that's just right there. That's a transformation that we see. His whole shift in demeanor. I just love him in this entire film. He's funny. He's charming. He's believable. There's this brilliant bit just after Superman meets Lois. I mean, what an incredible scene. The build up to Clark suiting up for the first time. He looks at the telephone box. He goes into the revolving doors. The music blasts. He grabs the helicopter, tells Lois, I've got you. And she says, you've got me. Who's got you? It's something so pure and so full of joy. I can't begin to express how it makes me feel. Wow. But then, after everything's okay, she says, who are you? And he takes a moment and just says, a friend. Peak!
What a peak scene.
That's cinema right there. He's someone there to help. He's someone that everyone can look up to. And Christopher Reeve embodies that. So many superhero stories nowadays get this idea of what if the most powerful person on the planet was evil? That's a really interesting concept. But what I love about Superman is that he as a character asks, what if the most powerful person on the planet was good? I love it. It's legendary.
It's a very interesting concept to have kindness as a superpower, as a strength. This scene reinforces that. It's a brilliant scene. You cannot go wrong with it.
Yeah, it's Superman's introduction to the world in so many ways. And there's just something about that final shot where the sun rises and Superman flies over the atmosphere and he just looks right at you and smiles before traveling off. Holy shit. That is enough to make a grown man cry. It is genuinely, I don't want to overuse the word magic, but it's magic. Oh my God.
Can we just have like a magic counter every time we say magic?
Ding. It's in the title
It's
of the
magic.
video. It's
It's
magic. It's magic.
Let's get the
How
counts
did they
going.
do it?
Yeah, it's Superman as a character. I think you cannot go wrong with emotional storytelling that goes through Superman. It just makes it feel like this epic journey, this guy who's strong on Earth and he can do whatever he wants, but it just feels so powerful to have that mentorship when growing up in a farm with his parents. It's so emotional, like, wow, these are just two human beings that have so much impact. They saved Clark's life and they changed his life dramatically. How much he used those powers. Again, he wants to use those powers to show off in high school. It just feels so impactful to have that kind of thing. And I think, again, we kind of need that Superman to have this ability to show that there is kindness in this world, what we can do as human beings. And I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. It's so simple. The idea of he walks up the lawn with his dad, and his dad just says, listen, man, I get it. I know that you want to do things, but I think that maybe you've been sent here for a higher purpose than that. And for Clark to really take that to heart, and then for Jonathan to die, and Clark can do nothing. It's not about ideology. It's not about whether he should or shouldn't. It's about he can't. There's nothing anyone can do. A heart attack, it's so simple and so painful. And I love that. And it's almost like this moment where Clark becomes a man and has to face adulthood and face his purpose.
No, the job. Oh, again, a job. No.
I gotta be a
jobs.
reporter. Fuck.
No, I gotta make food. I gotta make responsibilities. Yeah, that's the sad
but
reality.
we then see him go on this journey and create the Fortress of Solitude and have this massive 12 years of learning from Jor-El. And then the next thing we see from him is this figure wearing the outfit and the Superman music plays and he flies away and it's just like, whoa, he's become this symbol now. And then the next thing we see is him bumbling around in the Daily Planet. And you know that even though he's learned all this stuff and he has gained all this power, he still understands those values of kindness. And even though he is putting on this persona of the mild-mannered reporter, he's a good guy and he has got good values. And nothing says that better than the scene where he stops all the robbers and the criminals and he has his night where he reveals himself to the world. And the final thing we see from him is just saving a cat out of a tree. It's that simple. It's sincere. It's kind. This film does not underestimate or undervalue the power of kindness. That's what it's all about. And I love all of that. And at the same time, you've got this blossoming romance. Superman is as much about love as it is about kindness and goodness and optimism. I think those two things go hand in hand. And Clark and Lois in this film are so wonderful. Margot Kidder as Lois, another incredible casting. She has this journalistic fire that you can tell, this passion about what she does. I love the little quirks where she can't spell for shit. But, you know, she is this caring person and she's kind to people and kind to Clark and they get on well. And the moments where they're together and Lois is kind of fumbling over her words talking to Superman and Superman's, he's got his charm, he's got his charisma. I love all that stuff.
Yeah, obviously, they're the core when you look into Superman, the stories between the human life and then you got the superhero life. Those bridge together. You got the human stories that Lois tells, and then you got Kal talking about all his journeys and all the knowledge that he has across 28 galaxies. I think that's just so important to have that core aspect. And that scene when they fly together, that's got to be up there with like La La Land, you know, those dream sequences, or Singing in the Rain, that sequence where they dance across the clouds. And
yeah,
that's cinema to me. This means something to me. This means something to me.
It's genuinely, I just don't understand how in 1978 they can just do something so simple. Superman and Lois Lane spend a night together and he flies her around the city. You watch this for like 10 minutes and it feels so dreamy and so perfect. And there's that moment where she, in her mind, she reads that poem, Can You Read My Mind? And it's just so beautiful. Again, it's magic. It's so goofy, it's so cheesy, but it's sincere and it works. And it fills my little heart with such pure joy. I feel like you don't get that enough in superhero films. The feeling of joy, the feeling of optimism. And I don't want every superhero film to be like that, but I have missed it. And I think Superman is the guy for that. When it comes to this year's Superman, I am so excited to see that level of heart. And the whole time, for example, like Superman's suit in this film, it's like the comic book straight rips off the page onto screen. And it's so goofy. It's so silly, but it's amazing. The pants and the blue and the yellow and the red and the cape and the little like Superman symbol on the cape. It looks like a license plate or something. It's so silly. I think it's so fun. And I love that it embraces those elements of comic book camp. And the whole film, Okay, so this was shot by Jeffrey Unsworth, right? And he passed away after the making of this film and Superman 2. Superman 2, the Donner Cut. And so the film is dedicated to him. He just pours this ethereal beauty into this film. There's this glow to it, this magic. Again, I'm saying it. There's something about the way this film looks that I just think is so, so brilliant. It feels like a dream. It feels like a sunset in all the best ways. I don't know what they did, but everything has just clearly come together to create this masterful vision of beauty.
As I mentioned earlier, it feels like you're stumbling across this mythical thing. You know, you don't know what you're watching. It feels indescribable. The cinematography in this is just so beautiful. Again, I think beautiful might be competing with magical as that as well. And it just gives me so much excitement for this version of Superman. We're getting James Gunn's Superman for this. I think it's going to be brought back into this modern day. And it's interesting that we got different iterations of Superman along the way. Mostly, I haven't seen them all. I have seen Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, and I believe we talked about him on the podcast.
Early days of the pod. Yeah.
Early days. Whoever listened to that, I'm so sorry. Our mics were that bad.
Oh, no.
I was recording on my iPhone 12, I think.
Oh,
but,
like a caveman.
Like a caveman. But yeah, I'm so excited because it's just bringing back so much attention. We're getting the original, again, magical. We're bringing magical back. This is something that we're going to have, and it feels so exciting. And once you hear everybody's so excited about Superman, whereas that whole era of the DCEU, that horrible time when there wasn't really anything people got excited about, Marvel obviously dominating the game in that time, this is something bringing back this magic to Superman. I think that's going to be such an exciting time.
The DCU had a lot of ups and downs, and there's a lot to like in there, but you're right, it was such a tragic end for what could have been amazing, and it is a real shame that people didn't latch onto that iteration of Superman, as much as we both liked it, when we covered it on the pod. But I do think that here, now in 2025, hope and optimism, this new Superman, it could do a lot for people's perceptions of these kinds of movies, and just for culture in general. I think, and I hope that this Superman movie coming up will have that effect and that impact on people, because I feel like that's what this film has. This film really, this is it. Without this film, there's nothing. No DCU, no DCEU, no MCU, none of this stuff. No Batman 89, even without this film. And this film obviously also does come off the back of Superman on film before, George Reeves, but this changed the game in so many ways that cannot even be comprehended now.
One thing that I loved as well was the special effects in this movie. This is in 78. This is crazy to have the special effects, and it makes it feel so cool. Just like, wow. Especially the destruction of Krypton. I wonder how they did all of that. And then the earthquake in the San Andreas plates. Again, it's just so cool.
Yeah, and this came out a year after Star Wars as well. So in the space of 2 years,
the original Star Wars, dude, man.
Yeah, this is around the same time as Jaws as well. Hollywood was just pumping out films that would change everything for years to come. Talking about the effects on this film, they are absolutely spellbinding. But of course, they said on the tagline of this movie, "You will believe a man can fly." And I did. Holy
I
shit.
did.
First of all, one of the greatest taglines in movie history. This sits alongside "In Space No One Can Hear You Scream." One of the greatest things ever. And yes, it's been almost 50 years. Of course, it's a little bit dated. Of course it is. There's one moment when Superman turns and it looks pretty rough, but I don't care. I don't care that it looks rough. Because, again, like the feelings that I get from it are so pure and so magic. There it is again, ding. And I feel like I'm the 10th Doctor in Day of the Doctor. Ding. It's a machine that goes ding. I say magic and it goes ding. It's beautiful. So many things. They spent, I think, almost a year just getting the flying right, figuring out how to do it. There's a moment when, so after the whole flight with Lois, Superman leaves, right? So he flies away, and then the camera pans over to Lois, and she walks over to her door where Clark is knocking, and Clark walks in. One shot. And what they do is they use rear projection to show that bit of Superman flying away. So they pre-shot that, and they use rear projection. Come on! That's so clever!
They were ahead of the game.
They didn't even have to mask a cut or anything like that. They just showed it. I just think it's so impressive. And again, for all the flying scenes that do look a little bit janky, that moment at the end when he flies past the camera and he gives me a smile and I burst into tears. I believe that he's flying in space. Pair that with the John Williams theme. My God, what are we doing? Why did anyone ever try to make movies after this?
I don't know, Tom. I mean, that whole era for the 70s and 80s, that is a crazy, crazy era for movies in that time.
Yeah.
Again,
so,
this is a staple.
Yeah.
This is a staple. Is just magical.
Hey,
yeah. Take a shot every time we say magic. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You're not gonna make it out. You're not gonna make it out. Oh my God! Imagine going to your local pub and putting on Superman the movie.
No, putting on us on the screen every time we say magic. It's just like one shot, lads. One shot.
Dilly. I remember years ago, Kevin Feige said before every Marvel Studios project, they watched Superman the movie to kind of get a feel of the roots and like where we're coming from, what we want to try and recapture. And I get it, man, because this film is pure undiluted magic, and I have no idea how anyone could just not want this feeling, these emotions. There's barely any action in this film. The version of this film that we watched was 2 hours and 17 minutes long. My God, it goes by just like that. It doesn't matter there's no action. It doesn't matter that there are elements of datedness. It really does it so well. And we haven't even talked about Lex Luthor. Gene Hackman as Luthor. Really, really solid casting. I love how he very clearly refused to shave his head. And then the one scene where he whips off his wig and he's wearing a bald cap. Like,
and he's like, I am the most genius guy in the world. Yes. And he just takes it off his head. It's like, bro, what you've been doing the entire time, you could have just shown yourself. But Otis as well.
Yes, Miss Luthor.
That whole scene when he just kept repeating Luther's line, I don't know why, it's just so funny to me. It's just like, he's here to say,
yeah. Oh my God, and the bit where Lex is like, Otisburg? Otisburg?
It's a small land, it's a small land.
It's really, really funny. I will say that is an element of this film that, like, I could have done a little bit less of Luthor and his wacky sidekicks. I would have preferred a little bit more of, like, the scheming and conniving and the petty Lex Luthor we know and love. And I do think we get some of that, but maybe not as all. It's not Lex Luthor's best for this franchise. In Superman 2, this is where Gene Hackman as Lex is truly on best form for me. But even still, even if it is an element that I criticize, I don't really care. Because I just have so much fun with all of it. That bit where Superman drops them off at the end and the Warden's like, thanks for saving the day, Superman. And he's like, it's okay, Warden, I'm here to help. And then he flies away. Come on! Come on!
Just watch this movie, please.
Yes, seriously, if you are interested in, hey, the Superman summer starts here, baby. Like, if you're interested in Superman, you might be a fan of Man of Steel and excited for the new film. I know that it's old, I really do, but go back and watch Superman the movie. And if for nothing else than Christopher Reeve's performance and John Williams' score, I truly believe you will have an experience like no other. Man, what are you gonna give Superman the movie out of 10?
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 right here.
Me too. 9 out of 10. It's so good. It's so good.
It's almost to a 10. It's almost to a 10. Which version did you watch for Superman the movie?
I watched just the regular old version. I have the extended cut. I have it on Blu-ray, but it's in storage. So I actually
just in storage. See as every movie collector ever. Like, it's just like the Criterion era.
Yes.
You just want to go there. I want to go there. If we were there, we'd be there all day. We'd be like,
hold on, it's Morbius. It's Morbius again. It's just Thank you everybody for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you liked it, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. And next week, we are not stopping with the Superman stuff. It is Superman and Lois.
Can't wait for that, man. That's going to be so fun to talk about. All 4 seasons, everybody. All 4 seasons. Yeah, so man. Buckle up. Yeah. We're going to be yapping.
We really are, yeah. Send us an email at ourstimefilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on Superman and Lois, and we'll answer it right here on the podcast next week.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Pod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain Afzal, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom and me, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and you can find links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Jones-Meyer for the excellent theme and Ronan Phillips for focus of always, and I think that's everything for Superman. Take away, Given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.